Welcome to Football with Cheese. So I'm recording this on a Sunday morning. I'm not always going to do a college football recap Sunday morning, only if I have time. But I think this week was way more important than people realized. Most people think week 2 of college football, everyone just plays cupcakes, but there were a lot of important games, and some of these losses will cost these teams later on. Before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you never miss a video. We'll talk more in depth about college football on the Sports True podcast every Tuesday night. Me and Mike do the show, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. We always do a college football segment. Some weeks I'm actually going to do 2 college football videos, but the second one, probably the midweek one, would be NFL draft prospects. Who's rising, who's falling, who do I think would be good fits for teams, stuff like that, because this channel focuses a lot on the NFL draft. I have a lot of notes here, so let's just get into it. I'm going to have to skip some of this. There's going to be a long video. Let's start with Ole Miss. They lost at home to Kentucky last year. No game cost them more than losing to Kentucky, 20-16 at home. They lost 3 games. If they lose 2, they're in the playoff, and that game really cost them. For some reason, they just struggle with Kentucky. For whatever reason, some teams just struggle with other teams, but they won. Ole Miss absolutely had to have that game with their SEC schedule. Clemson was losing at halftime to Troy 16-3. I don't know what to do with Clemson. Scored 10 points against LSU, scored 3 in the first half against Troy. This offense should be amazing. They did rally to win. They dominated the second half, but I don't know what to do with Clemson. Very unimpressed so far with them. Now LSU, let's talk about them. I thought them going into Death Valley and winning was really impressive. But they only beat Louisiana Tech 23-7. Maybe Clemson's not that good. Maybe we've overrated LSU. We'll see. And Georgia only beat Austin Peay 28-6. I know they still won, but teams like LSU and Georgia should be putting up 50 easy on these teams. So it's something to monitor going forward. I did have Georgia as one of the most overrated teams in the country. I did not have them in the playoff. Baylor got a huge win at SMU in overtime. They lost to Auburn last week, so they had to have this. Any chance for the playoff would have been gone if they start 0-2. They would have had to win the Big 12, but that's going to be really tough this year. Much deeper Big 12. Illinois Duke. We'll talk more about that on the podcast. I just want to mention it because Mike thought Duke was underrated. He thought Illinois was overrated. I disagree with Duke. I thought they were 6-6 team, and I picked Illinois in the playoff. You know, I'm looking a little smart there, but long season. But Illinois pretty much whooped Duke. They won fairly easily. Okay, Mississippi State, Arizona State. Really interesting game. I'm going to talk more about that than any of them. I have a 2 TV setup, if you did not know. So first half I was watching Oklahoma, Michigan. I had that sound on. I had Arizona State, Mississippi State muted, and it was 17-0, 17-3 at halftime. Mississippi State was looking very good. And second half, honestly, I was just bored watching Michigan, Oklahoma. It was just not a fun game to watch. I decided to listen to Mississippi State, Arizona State, and focus more on that. I'm glad I did. Arizona State probably wins this game 6 out of 7 times, and this is the one they didn't. They had 2 complete defensive breakdowns, one early, one late in the game, gave up long touchdowns. In fact, they gave up 3 touchdowns through the air that were 47 yards or more. Can't do that. Cannot give up big plays. The wide receiver combo, Brennan Thompson, Anthony Evans, was outstanding. For Mississippi State, they caught 15 of the 19 passes. And Arizona State should not have scheduled this game. I know Mississippi State is not one of the best teams in the SEC. They're in the middle of the pack at best, probably a little below average SEC team. But at night, SEC environment with those cowbells, it is so tough to play. And Arizona State looked awful right away. Sam Leavitt looked like he just wasn't in the game at all. Started 1 of 7, the quarterback for Arizona State. It was just a mess early on, and they played way better in the second half. You could tell Arizona State does have a better team than Mississippi State, but too little too late. They took the lead. To me, Arizona State got too conservative. They should have gone for the touchdown. They had a 4th and 1, kicked the field goal. Especially because your defense had given up 2 big plays in the passing game. Just not a smart decision. Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver at Arizona State, he's incredible talent. He is the best receiver, in my opinion, for the NFL draft next year. going to be a top 20 pick. He had a terrible drop, though. It was a 3rd and 12. He had the first down. He goes to make a move, worried about the defenders there, pops right out, goes out of bounds. They got it right back, but still, Tyson cannot drop that ball. And Arizona State, they're now a long shot to make the college football playoff. And I see 2 scenarios. They have to win out and win the Big 12 title, or they win out and lose the Big 12 title game. Those are the only 2 scenarios to me. With this loss, if they lost, at LSU, at Georgia, at Texas or something, then the loss might not hurt. But it's at Mississippi State that when they're 7-5, 6-6, it's just not going to look good late in the year. So Arizona State pretty much has to run the table in the Big 12, and it's one of the tougher Big 12 schedules. They have at Baylor, TCU at home, at Utah, Texas Tech at home. That's a 4-game stretch. Not easy. They could do it, but it's going to be tough for them. Iowa State, let's talk about them. They won a close one against Iowa. If you watch the podcast, I brought up this game because the winner is going to be in great shape. And the loser is in trouble as far as making the playoff. Non-conference game, but it's a rivalry. Somehow they always play a close game, low-scoring close game. But Iowa State, they find a way to win so many close games. They're just well-coached. But Iowa's playoff hopes are pretty much done. They do get Penn State and Oregon at home, but they're going to have to win at least one of those and then run the table on the rest of their games. It's going to be very tough. But yeah, Iowa State, they're in great shape because, you can't lose to Iowa at home, unranked team at home. That would really hurt the playoff chances. But they don't have a real tough Big 12 schedule, and they've already beat Kansas State. So, yeah, Iowa State, they're in great shape. Okay, Oklahoma, Michigan. I mentioned it earlier. Oklahoma looked good. They're better than I thought they'd be after a disastrous year last year. John Mateer, he's a beast. He's got all the tools. Big arm, athletic. Kirk Herbstreit on the broadcast comparing to Baker Mayfield. I think he has a better arm than Baker Mayfield, but he's not as polished. He's definitely not as polished at this point in his career. But, yeah, Mateer is someone to watch. He's got tools. So, who knows? He could come out and be a top 5 pick. He could come back. He could be a mid-round pick. I don't know what to do with him yet. I'm going to have to do more of a deep dive. We'll watch him as the season goes. Deion Burks, wide receiver. He was his go-to guy in that game. I went back in my notes and looked at Burks because I thought he'd come out last year. I had him listed as a undersized potential starting slot receiver in the NFL. I had him slightly behind Isaiah Bond and Jalen Noel, Jalen Noel went in the 3rd round. Isaiah Bond had some off-the-field stuff, so didn't get drafted. He's on the Browns now. But, I had Burks slightly behind them. So, yeah, maybe if he has a great year 2nd round, but 3rd round pick, so very good player. Bryce Underwood, the quarterback of Michigan, he struggled. The whole offense struggled. He had a blow-up on the sideline. Michigan was just way too conservative. It's like they won't let him take some chances. That strategy probably worked when you have a ton of talent. You have Jim Harbaugh there. Just run the ball, be conservative. How many times on 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6 did Michigan run the ball right up the middle and get 2 or 3 yards? And then we'll just kick a field goal. You can't win a game like that. They lost, 24-13? You got to get touchdowns. You cannot kick field goals. Ask Florida. We'll talk about that in a second. It's just going to be a tough year for Michigan, I think. I mean, their schedule's pretty easy. The only ranked team they have left on the schedule is Ohio State, but they're going to lose some other Big Ten games. Michigan's just... maybe a year away. Jim Harbaugh's not going to save you. Florida. Florida Gators. If you know me, I'm a Florida hater, so I love this. Sorry. I'm not sorry. So they lost to South Florida at home in the swamp. South Florida's probably better than we thought. They whooped Boise State, but that game was probably closer than the score indicated. The humidity, I think, got to Boise State in the second half. But Brendan Bett, I believe that's his name, defensive tackle, he spit on a South Florida player with 2 minutes to go. Maybe he learned from Jalen Carter, the Jalen Carter way. Did that for the Eagles, got ejected right away. At least Brendan Bett waited till the last 2 minutes, but the timing could not have been worse. 15 yards, he got ejected. set up South Florida for the game-winning field goal. What a total disaster that game was. Florida just kept kicking field goals. We just talked about that with Michigan. You can't keep kicking field goals. Billy Napier, the head coach of Florida, is now 20-20. Ooh, brutal. He was a longtime wide receiver coach for Nick Saban at Alabama, if you did not know. Then he went to Louisiana Lafayette. Then he got the Florida job. At the time, I thought it was a good hire. Made sense. SEC ties. Did well at Louisiana. But Florida's schedule is brutal. It's brutal. Let me pull it up. I've never seen a schedule this hard maybe in my life. So they're 1-1. They beat Long Island. Lost to South Florida, obviously. They're at LSU, who's ranked 3rd. At Miami, who's ranked 5th. Versus Texas, ranked 7th. At Texas A&M, ranked 19th. That's just their next 4 games. They could lose all of those. Then they host Mississippi State, who just beat Arizona State. They might be favored in that one. Versus Georgia, not going to be favored in that one. Then at Kentucky, they could lose that. At Ole Miss, not going to be favored in that one. Versus Tennessee, not going to be favored in that one. Versus Florida State looks way better. Oh my God, that looks like a losing record. This could be a 3 or 4 win team. I'm not saying they will. We'll see if they bounce back, but Billy Napier's not going to survive this. If you watched my last video, I talked about how Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, to me is the most likely coach to be fired in the NFL. In college football, it's Billy Napier. He's not going to survive this. It's bad. I don't think it's all his fault, but it's just brutal. Okay, I got to end the video there. I have some more notes, but I got to end it now. You know what to do. Hit the bell for notifications, subscribe, all of that. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Check out the podcast every Tuesday night, link in the description. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. I also write articles at PackersTalk.com. My last one was how Micah Parsons completely changes the Green Bay Packer defense. Link is also in the description for that. So, make sure you share this with anyone who loves football so we can grow football with cheese. I cover college football, NFL draft, a big focus in the spring. So share this. Really appreciate you all. Check these out if you have not. I think I'm going to do an NFL recap video. It'll be out every Monday or Tuesday, so I'll see you in that one.